This is why football is not played best by intelligent men.
Oh.
I'm a Ball State graduate, Middle America, common values, Cal Berkeley, Columbia, Stanford. You guys are too smart and overthink. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
That's where you win. That's where you win.
Dumb. This is why I don't trust players. You co-sign for one of the dumbest decisions in the history of football. You got to punt that ball and take your medicine.
No, it wasn't the dumbest decision. It was just a bad result. But the decision comes before the result, and that's what you always get caught up in. You see what happens, and you be like, oh, that was stupid.
I was saying it before. When he was lining up. Are you kidding me?
Look, I understand. Like, you know, you're a gambler also. You understand what, like, don't double down on 12. I will, you know, and see what happens. But you know what? I like that mindset. It's daring, and it beats the alternative. It beats you being passive. It beats you being too cautious. So I respect what he's saying and supporting his coach.
A loss beats a tie. This is what I'm saying. Columbia, Ivy League. Let's hear from Cal Berkeley.
Well, first of all, I love how Andrew Luck. That was Andrew Luck getting emotional right there. We frickin' love it. I bet he's never met a set of cuss words in his life, man. But that was great. But besides but that's what that brings out in a guy like him, the leader of the team. Everybody loves it. As a player, me playing tight end, I would have been like, absolutely, let's go for it. I don't want to play for a tie. I want to win this football game.
What do you think about the loss, Tony?
It's better than a tie. It's better than a tie. I'd rather lose than tie the game.
Yeah, take a risk.
I'd rather go out fighting. Come on, Whit. You want to fight, don't you? You don't want to be like, okay,
they fought the entire game, and the best result they had in front of them in that situation was a tie. Take the tie.
Okay, all right, let's use some intelligence because we know this is a copycat league. And be real, the offseason, every single coach sat around and watched Doug Peterson and his daring ways and sat there and said, oh, and we saw Jacksonville be too cautious in the second half against New England, AFC Championship game. You know what we're going to do? Especially a first-year head coach, former player. Man, I'm going all in every time I can. And I think that's what you saw. You saw everyone saying the new mantra is be risky. Belichick, remember in the Indy game a few years ago, 4th and 2 on his own 20? Go for it. Like, that's the new way of coaching.
Marcellus, Tony and I were in Kansas City at the same time together. When Tony was a young star and, you know, good-looking guy, single. And Tony used to hang out at this bar called Mi Casina, him and Jason Dunn. They'd be down in the basement. And occasionally, I would be there with them, and I'd see how they operated. That didn't say I could operate like this. And so just because Doug Peterson did something, Frank Reich sitting there going, oh, I can do that too. No, you can't. Not on 4th down in that situation with 24 seconds left. You can't do what everybody else does.
I hear what you're saying, but the gunslinger mentality, and Whitlock, I think you did have a good time. Now, I think you didn't leave, but don't say
what you could do.
Don't say yourself short. But there was also a play in the Cleveland Browns game, and this is where if I was a coach, it was 4th and inches. Remember that one? They got hosed on that call. I'm sure you guys probably talked about it. I was saying go for it. Go just an inch. Just do a quarterback. You can't get a half an inch. Go for it. You saw what happened. They punted it down. They came back and they ended up winning. Sorry about that. They ended up winning the game. I like that mentality of being aggressive. I'd rather be aggressive than lose than play it safe and tie or tie.
Yeah, it's about that process. Whitlock, you got to understand, like, sometimes even being a parent, you're like, there are times where you're like, oh, I shouldn't let my son do that because that's not the best thing for this moment. But you know what? I don't want to take that will out of him. I don't want to take that risk out of him because it could pay dividends going forward. I think that's one of those situations. Like, success is not linear. You know, there are times where you're going to go backwards to go forward. This may have been a bad result, but it's the proper mindset you need.
Do you leave the stove on at home?
Back burner only because he can't reach it, but yeah.
So you leave the stove. Hey, look, he can burn his hands, but that's part of the learning process. Those 4th-degree burns all over his hand. He'll recover from that. Blah, blah, blah. Just let him learn. They took an L when they didn't have to. And at the end of the day, the NFL is about wins and losses. Can you avoid the losses? Can you get some wins? They had a chance to avoid a loss here. He made a dumb decision. Everybody caping up and defending, oh, it's aggressive, blah, blah, blah. No, it's the kind of stuff that will get you fired at some point. And if he doesn't learn, he put his hand up there and touched the stove, and we need to be, yeah, it's hot up there, don't do it again, rather than Andrew Luck and all you other smart guys with high SAT scores telling him it's the right thing to do. Football's a simple game, man. You punt on 4th and 4.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
That's all you do?
It's a simple game.
Okay.
All right, Aaron Rodgers, to me, is taking a little shot at Mike McCarthy here. I think some of it has to do with the running back position. They're playing running back by committee, and there's a young running back, I think Aaron Jones, that Aaron Rodgers would like to see on the field more and get more touches. I think he was suspended for the first 2 games, but then in the 3rd and 4th games, he was used in a committee way that Aaron Rodgers doesn't like. I'm going to somewhat defend Mike McCarthy, and just say Green Bay has a personnel issue. Always has. They don't go out and surround Aaron Rodgers with the best players, and so the coach's hands are tied to some degree. However, having said that, the expiration date may have reached its point between the Mike McCarthy-Aaron Rodgers marriage.
Not only do they have a personnel issue, they always have a personality issue, too. Like, you think about it, let's keep this 100. From day one, it's always something, and there's always a problem in Green Bay since Aaron Rodgers been there. Let's be real. Like, pre-draft, he dropped in the draft. People are saying that was personality-based. Whatever it is, he dropped unnecessarily, but he did. He gets to Green Bay. First thing is he can't get along with Brett Favre, whether that's him or that's Brett Favre. Somehow, some way, he didn't show deference or reverence, or Brett Favre didn't extend the hand down to the young and up-and-coming, but somehow, some way, that didn't go well. Then all of a sudden, you see him out there, and immediately we're like, whoa, he's the best. And then we're like, okay, we're going to just ride that. Oh, he got a Super Bowl, but he's the best. He deserves more. He should get more. And then that's when the pressure kicks in. And all of a sudden, all the fingers start pointing. Whether he's getting hurt or he's like, this is not the proper team. This is not the proper personnel. I don't like my running backs. I don't like my receiving core. Oh, you're not keeping the players I want. Oh, the defense is not good enough. Like, every single year, if you start to add up the headlines, there's always something there in Green Bay. And I just think it just circles around the fact that he's feeling that pressure of being the best, but not getting the best results. So Mike McCarthy, once again, will be the scapegoat like everything else has been, but it's not on Mike McCarthy.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I would love Aaron Rodgers to go. I mean, everything that he was saying, at least point it at yourself, at least a little bit, and be like, hey, well, I got to play better too. I got to hit guys coming out of their break or whatever. He didn't throw a perfect game. I mean, and absolutely, he has taken a shot at Mike McCarthy.
Oh, yeah,
without a doubt there. Yeah. He is saying something is going on, but that is Aaron Rodgers. You guys, I don't know if you ever met him in person.
Oh, yeah.
He is an intense guy. I don't think he, whether it's because he's developed a chip on his shoulder, but he's not trying to impress you. He don't care. He's just like, hey, I'm here. And he knows how good he is. He knows he's the best quarterback, one of the best quarterbacks of all time. He feels like he's in a position he can say whatever he wants to say. Because that's tough to do. Like, I don't know, as the face of your franchise, to come out and say he knows what he's a Berkeley guy. He knows what's coming after this. I'm surprised that he would do something like that, but I think the window's closing in his career. He's got about 3-4 more years, and he wants to win another Super Bowl, and he feels like he's not being surrounded and the right plays aren't getting called. But point the finger at yourself, too. Say we're in this together.
Y'all making some fascinating points, and having played for a long time in Kansas City, having played in Buffalo, when I hear you all talk, I'm starting to think big fish in little pond. He's playing in Green Bay. He's the only attraction in Green Bay. Cheese is the other thing.
Cheese curds.
Cheese curds. And so he has so much leverage and power being that kind of superstar in Green Bay that maybe he never does have to question himself because he's the greatest thing in Wisconsin.
Yeah, it sounds a little drunk on your own power. Let's just be real. I mean, I've played with guys who had the same level of power, but didn't act like that, didn't say those type of things, and the storyline didn't continue every single year where it's the surrounding parts. Like you said, Tony, even in greatness, even in you playing as well as you have, Aaron Rodgers, it's not perfection. So I thought the great quarterbacks can overcome some of these ills and issues surrounding them. Tom Brady certainly does every single year, and maybe he's having that kind of mental tug-of-war with his greatness, and therefore, I'm not the problem. I'm the best at it. It has to be something surrounding me.
Is there a different mentality than playing in Kansas City as opposed to a major city like Atlanta? Being a star in those cities?
Mentality as far as what, though?
I don't know if there's other superstars in Atlanta, other people on your level in Atlanta. When you were in Kansas City, you and Derek Thomas, and that was pretty much it.
Well, you feel the pressure to perform more in Kansas City, the smaller town, because that's all they had. We were the only thing in town. The Royals weren't good back then. We're in Atlanta. You got everything going on. You see famous people out having lunch all the time. It's big music. So you just, like you said, big fish in a little pond. You're a big fish in a big pond. There's other big fish out there. So you felt the pressure of carrying the city and the hopes and dreams of the city.